What's up? What's up? I'm Alexandra Harbushka, founder of Life with Herpes. It's been a minute since I have gone live. So, what is going on, guys? I just want to take some time to answer some questions. So, if you have questions in the feed, please feel free to ask them. I will do my best to answer them. I'll do my best to be here and answer that for you. But today, a little bit of the topic that I wanted to talk to you about, it's something to see, it's something, swipe to see real performance. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. It was just TikTok was telling me to swipe to do things. Um, Hey guys. Okay, so something I really want to talk about is the Eeyore phase. So I call it Eeyore phase. So when you are diagnosed with herpes, it is a deer in the headlights. It's a shock. It's an absolute um, oh my gosh, my life is over. These were maybe some goals I had for my life, or this is where I saw my life going, and I got herpes, and this is not at all where I saw my life going. Or maybe it was, I have done these things to avoid herpes. How did this just happen? Or maybe it was, well, the type of person that has herpes is this, 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 and this, and this. And I always associated herpes with that person, that type of person. And now I have it. So now I'm that person. So this requires a lot of unwinding. It requires a lot of unraveling. It requires a lot of inner work. It requires a lot of self work. There's no easy quick. There's no easy pill. There's no easy like, oh, I just do this and then I no longer care that I have herpes or I get over it. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I was diagnosed with genital herpes in 2011. I never, ever, ever, ever thought I would get herpes. Um, I never thought I'd get an STD. I actually was a sex educator for Planned Parenthood. So when I was in high school, I was educated by Planned Parenthood. I went to local high schools in San Diego County and taught sex ed as a peer to other high schools. So I knew about herpes. I knew how it was transmitted. I knew a lot about it. So for me to say, oh, I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know. No, I knew about herpes. So when I got it, I was absolutely shocked because I believed I was doing certain things that would prevent me from getting it. And the truth is, and the truth about herpes is it really, it's kind of like the stars align. There's so many people that, you can wear a condom, you can get tested, you can have those uncomfortable conversations with the partner, and all of a sudden it shows up. There's things that, herpes could have been dormant in your system for years or your partner's system, and he or she may not have known. All of a sudden it pops up when you're together, and you guys are like, what just happened? Um, so a lot of times you can be extremely responsible and it can still happen. So back to that Eeyore phase, back to that, how do I get over my diagnosis? How do I get out of this phase? Um, I was in the Eeyore phase, and I like to describe Eeyore as, if you think of Eeyore, he has the rain cloud over him. Everything's gray, life's so, he's struggling to get through. And I was in that phase for 2 years. So I was there as an Eeyore. The light wasn't on, my skin wasn't pink, it was kind of gray. I was sad, I was lonely, I was angry, I was spiteful, I was resentful, I was curt, I was all sorts of things. And I realized I had to get out of that. I realized I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that phase. And so it boiled down. This is what we're getting at, guys. This is why what we're talking about is how to get over that initial shock and get out of the Eeyore phase. I realized it boiled down to two things. And these two things are extremely important in order to get through it. You can't do one without the other. And it may require focusing on one at a time and then circling back and working on the other. You may think that you're through it and you're like, I'm totally fine, I'm great. And then you get an outbreak and you're like, clearly I'm not, because I'm back in the resentment, or I'm back in my Eeyore phase. Or you may think you're totally fine and through it, and then all of a sudden you get rejected for herpes, right? So here's the two things. One is you need to practice forgiveness. That's a really big one. It's something that we don't do enough of as in general. We need to forgive our partner. So we need to forgive our partner and we need to forgive ourselves. Yeah, thanks, Katie. Yeah, exactly. We need to forgive. Forgiveness is key. So we need to forgive our partner. Whether our partner knew or did not know that he or she had herpes, that's something we have to forgive. So, like, obviously, if he or she didn't know, then yeah, like that's an easy forgiveness, right? Like they didn't know. Easy forgiveness. You can't be upset for someone for something they didn't know. But if they did know, then it's got so much anger and spite and like you did this to me and you did that and blah 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 blah, right? So um that forgiveness needs to happen. Forgive that person for knowing and not telling you. Forgive that person for not having either the courage, the confidence, the awareness. You need to forgive. Then next, we need to forgive ourselves, right? So we need to forgive it's so easy to go back in hindsight and be like, well, I should have, or it was just one time, or it was just this one, da 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 da. I should have known better. I had a feeling about that one. I shouldn't have slept with that one. I knew, da 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 da, or I should have been more persistent, or I should have stuck up for myself more. I should have made the person wear a condom, or I should have made the person get tested, or I shouldn't have had that bottle of wine, or I should have left the bar when I said I was going to leave the bar, whatever. There's all these should haves, and you need to stop shoulding yourself. It happened. Forgive yourself. It's in the past, and we need to move on from that, right? So forgive yourself. Just look at it and say, okay, in the future, when this thing arises that I have a little spidey sense, or I have I don't know, maybe I should do this. Yeah, Christy thinks, yeah, yes, right? Like in the future, you'll go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I've been in this situation before, and now I know what to do. So again, forgiveness. Okay, number one thing. Again, this may take time. You may be 20 years post being diagnosed, and that person shows up in your life, and you see him at the Starbucks, and you're like, forgiveness. Okay, thanks for the hand clap. Um, the next thing is taking responsibility. So again, it's very easy when we're diagnosed to be in this victim mindset with this. So it's really easy for us to be like, well, this happened to me, and so therefore my life is over, or, woe is me, or this happened to me, I did this right. Maybe I was in a committed relationship, and maybe my partner cheated on me, and so this happened to me, woe is me, that type of mindset. Or we really like to blame others for our problems because I didn't do anything. It wasn't me, right? I'm not the one that did it. It's you. You're the one that put me in this position. So when we act in that way, we are victims. And when we're victims, we're allowing somebody else to control our emotions. We're allowing somebody else to control our outlook. We're allowing someone else to control our life and our destiny. So I think that we need to take responsibility. So in my personal situation of getting herpes, I take responsibility for sleeping with my ex. I take responsibility for sleeping with him prematurely and not having him get tested. I got tested, but I take responsibility for not having him get tested. I take responsibility for not wearing a condom. I take responsibility for being in a situation where I was very I had a bottle of champagne, let me put it that way. I wasn't drunk, but my friends and I were all hanging out. It was like Memorial Day weekend. We were all drinking champagne by the pool. So I was in a very relaxed state. I wouldn't say intoxicated, but I was relaxed. I was very like, yeah, whatever. So I take responsibility for doing that. I didn't have to drink a bottle of champagne, right? I could have had one glass, right? So I did that. It was my choice, my responsibilities to be in a situation where I then became sexually active with the guy I was dating. And then once you kind of do it, you do it, and then you're in it, right? So I could have then the next time said, you know what, let's take a step back. Why don't you go get tested? I just got tested. Here's my results. We could have, like renegotiated and have those conversations. So again, for me personally, that was my story. I take responsibility for that choice. I can't blame him. I'm not going to blame myself, but I'm going to take responsibility. So just to recap, again, the things that we talked about is ways to get out of the Eeyore phase, get out of the woe is me, I have herpes, my life is over, and the dark space that we can be in is the two things: practice forgiveness and take responsibility for my actions. Those two things combined, you can't do one without the other. You need them both together. Those two things combined will help you get through this. So I saw that there were some questions. Oh, your account saved my sanity. You're welcome. Yeah, I wish this was here. I wish we had social media in 2011, but obviously it wasn't what it is now. There was nothing about herpes. Instagram was like just pretty pictures, and Facebook was not talking about herpes. So anyways, I wish that this existed back then in 2011. You're welcome. I'm glad that it's here. So, any thoughts on that? Like, have you realized, like, wow, I was practicing forgiveness, but I was still not taking responsibility? Or you're like, well, I definitely took responsibility for my actions, but I haven't forgiven that person for those reasons. Like, it really takes both. Like, let me know below, like, use your fingers or 9 fingers. Let me know what you're going through, or if there's something I can elaborate on to really help you through this. I can elaborate. I can do more TikToks that really dive into this. But when I asked you guys, like, what do you want to hear? This was a big one. So that's why I wanted to answer it. I saw a question about a vaccine. Is there a vaccine Russian? I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe you're asking, like, is Russia doing research on vaccines for herpes? I don't know. So here's my outlook on vaccines or a cure, quote unquote, for the herpes virus, or just in general. There is research going on for a herpes vaccine. What I do not know is the vaccine for somebody that has herpes. Is it something that will, quote unquote, cure herpes? Right? Will it allow the herpes virus to go dormant in our system? Or is it something to prevent transmission to a partner? So is it something that, that someone does not have herpes, will they avoid transmission? I don't know that answer. So that's number one. Number two, my next thing about it is we don't know when this is going to come out. It could come out today. It could come out a year from now. It could come out 5 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. And what I don't want is for you or for myself to waste time waiting for this like holy grail to show up to change our lives. We're basically putting our faith or our hope or our savior, like we're asking someone else to save us. And it really needs, again, needs to come from within. This one thing isn't necessarily going to change or save us. So it's a matter of coming to terms with it. It's a matter of understanding what herpes is and what it is not. And it's a matter of living your life. If I was waiting for a herpes vaccine, quote unquote, or cure, quote unquote, I was diagnosed when I was 28. I'm 39 now. Think of all that time I would have wasted just waiting. I wouldn't have married my husband. I wouldn't have my beautiful baby. I would have been missing out on really important things in my life that I would have just been waiting for something to happen. And all that time, I just would have been stuck in the Eeyore phase. So I'm really against putting our hope in this one thing that we don't know when it's going to happen. Do I think there will be something? Absolutely. Our medical, our technology is too far advanced to not have something. But I don't want us to be waiting for it. Thanks for all the hearts. I like it. I just don't want us to be waiting for it. That's the key. That's the key. We're putting our eggs in a basket that we don't know when it's going to arrive. I say it all the time. There probably is some natural cure out there, or I have to be careful with the word cure, but some way to suppress the virus. I say it probably, shows up on a full moon with a little light rainfall with a hair of a goat, bat of the eye, toenail of an alligator, and mix it together with a flower that blooms once a year or every pink moon or something, right? Like, I'm sure there is something out there that is concocted and works. But again, I don't want us to wait or wonder or miss out on just how beautiful life truly is. Let's see, I have another comment. You're awesome. Oh, thanks, Caitlin. I appreciate that. So if there's not any more questions, I'm gonna go on ahead and, oh, I do. There's two more things. Let's see. You haven't had an outbreak in years. Is that weird? No, that's awesome. That's super, 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 super awesome. That means that your body and your immune system is doing what it's supposed to be doing to prevent an outbreak. So ideally, our immune systems can keep it suppressed. It's when everything's operating on all cylinders, and it sounds like your body's doing what it is supposed to be doing, which is awesome. You found out you have it via blood test and you've never had an outbreak. That obviously is very unfortunate to find out via a blood test. Like, what? I wasn't even expecting this. The good news for you, Connie, is that you're not getting outbreaks. And that's one of the things that's really frustrating for a lot of us that live with HSVs. We get continual outbreaks, and that's something that is really frustrating, right? Extremely frustrating. So that's great that you're not getting outbreaks. You still need to disclose to partners that you have it, because you're still able to transmit it if even without outbreaks. It's called viral shedding. You played a huge role in my overcoming the fear of being with the most amazing man you've ever met. Yay! Yes. See, like these are we think like, oh, well, no one's gonna want me. Well, that person, there's someone out there that does. And for you to say like, oh, this person doesn't want me because now I'm damaged, is really not allowing that other person to meet you. It's like doing them a disservice. So by us like not accepting our diagnosis, it's truly doing a disservice for the people around us and the people that love us. So think of it that way. I think I missed some other comments. Thank you for answering your question about the vaccine. Yeah, I hope that helped. You were just diagnosed and you don't know how to deal with it. Do I have any tips? Yeah, go back and watch this again. I was just talking about two things. One is dealing what you got to practice forgiveness towards your partner and towards yourself, and two, take responsibility for your actions. So go back and watch this. I probably spent 10-15 minutes talking about it and went really into detail. I think I just heard my baby. I think I'm going to have to go. What are the mildest symptoms that you have that's not considered a full-blown outbreak? So the prodrome symptoms can be tingles. It can be swollen lymph nodes. It can be, for me, sometimes when I say the tingles, it sometimes can feel like a spider's walking on my skin. It can sometimes feel like a jolt, like a lightning bolt almost, because it's the nerves. It can even look like a paper cut. The outbreak can even be a paper cut. But I would just, or like a hot spot, like a skin sensitivity can also be a sign of an outbreak. Yes, the love of my life was so accepting. He never made me feel uncomfortable. Yeah, the love of our lives will make us feel comfortable. They're not even going to care. I have a close family member that has herpes. I'm just here to learn. That's awesome. Learn. It's extremely common. I'm glad that you're here to support someone that you love, because that's what it's all about. I'm 22 and I was in a relationship, but I'm scared to get close with anyone because they have HSV1 genitally. I understand. It is scary. I would invite you to dig a little bit deeper. And is there something else that you don't want to get close with? Is it betrayal? Is there a pattern going on in past relationships, or is there something that you're scared of? Like a perfect example that is not herpes related. We will potentially, if we are scared of affection from the opposite, from a partner or the opposite sex, or like a partner, we're scared of attention. A lot of times we'll pack on extra pounds to make us not feel attractive, and then think like, well, if I'm not attractive, then the opposite sex won't find me attractive, and that's my barrier to protect myself. That's just that's like one example. Now back to herpes, and you're saying that you're scared to get close to anybody because of having genital herpes. I would invite you to look at that and say, okay, take away herpes. Was I scared to get close to someone before I had herpes? And I would say 98% of the time there was something else there, and herpes is just the frosting on top, and it's just our scapegoat to say, well, I have herpes, I can't be with you. right? Hey there, do you remember me from Tinder? I've never been on Tinder, so no, I've never been on Tinder. So I don't remember you. Um, I'm learning how to live with it now. I'm so glad that you are. Um, oh, one thing I do know is if you are careful, you can successfully keep your partner safe from getting it. Absolutely. You know, like my husband, we've been together. I always forget. I always have to ask him when we got together. 7 years, 8 years, I don't know. Um, anyways, I was 30. See, I don't even know. Was I 31? Was I 32? I got married at 34. I think we got together when I was 31, and I'm 39 now. So let's say 8 years. Thanks for letting me process that out loud. Been together 8 years. My husband does not have it. I have oral and genital. You're welcome. You're 55, just got diagnosed. Ugh, I had to go. I had a good run. Don't even want to date and have to disclose. I understand your frustration. I understand your fears. I understand not wanting to date. I would do what you want to do right now. If you want to date, date. Don't let herpes hold you back. 80% is living with herpes. 80% is living with herpes and don't even know it. Yeah, I don't know if that's the exact statistic, but the majority of the population has herpes. They just don't actually get outbreaks, nor have they been tested. All right, guys, I am going to go. I loved being live. Thank you. I will go live again, maybe tomorrow. And how can you keep other people safe from it? I will answer that really quick, and that would be a great topic for tomorrow. I say three things. One is communication. Two is contraceptive, so a contraception like a condom. And three is the antiviral. Those three things together are going to be the best way to prevent transmission. So I will go into that full detail tomorrow. All right, have a great day. Bye, guys. And I'm also heating up. I have like my heater, like my face is all red. I can tell. It's funny. Okay, bye.